right, so, yes. Okay, so it's 7 o'clock on Monday, July 23rd, 2018, and I'll call the meeting to order, and the first thing we'll do is stand for a moment of silent reflection. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? Deputy Stockman?
On the ZBA 07-2018, the Van Gorp rezoning, historical family connection to that property. My aunt and uncle and cousins used to own that property, so I'm going to step out.
Okay, is there anything else? Nope, seeing none. Okay. We have the minutes of our previous meeting, which was the July 9th, 2018 minutes. Okay. Moved by Councillor McKinnon and seconded by Councillor Hendricks. Is there any errors or omissions in those?
Just note on, and I had sent this to Jennifer already, Pike and Napperton, I think the stop signs need to go on Pike as opposed to Napperton, because Napperton is the through road.
Okay, and that's all fixed up then? Perfect. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. Okay, so we have a few delegation and timed events for this meeting. So at 7:05 we have a public meeting for ZBA 07-2018. And then at 7:15 we have our Committee of Adjustment for Consent Application B07-2018. And then at 7:45 we have a drainage consideration. So we're going to get into our correspondence. So the first section there is the upcoming conferences, seminars, and events, or meetings. So our next meeting, which is Monday, August 13th, and then September 4th, September 17th. And then there's the annual conference there from August 19th to 22nd, and I don't believe anyone on council or staff is attending that, so we need to do that one. Our first item of correspondence is from the Assalva Bayfield Conservation Authority, and it's an invitation to the public information open house.
No lake shore in our municipality, so I think we have to go.
The next section there is the recommended reading. Correspondence item number 2 is from the Assalva Bayfield Conservation Authority. It's their Board of Directors meeting and minutes. Item number 3 is from St. Clair Region Conservation Authority, and it's their 2018 June meeting highlights. Item number 4 is from AMO, and it's the Ontario Government speech from the throne. Item number 5 is from the Middlesex London Health Unit, and it's the changes to the SFAO 2017, and it's a delay. Item number 6 is from Union Gas, and it's the 2017 disposition of deferral accounts balances. Item number 7 is from JLT, and it's the post-summit book. Item number 8 is from BM Ross, Class EA for Bear Creek Bridge, County of Lambton project update. Item number 9 is from the Ombudsman. It's the 2017-2018 annual report. And we just have a few action items. So the first one there is from the Thames Valley District School Board. And it's an invitation to join Strathroy Imagine Group's planning committee. So anyone interested in sitting or attending? Where is that portion there? Number 11. So what we'll do is I'm sure they'll contact Jennifer again for the next meeting date because it's not scheduled yet.
Right.
And then if anybody is able to attend, then please do so, and I'll see if, depending on what date it is, I may be able to attend and report back. Okay. And then item number 11 is from the Fire Underwriter Survey, and it's the Canadian Fire Chief of the Year Award. Councillor McKinnon?
I wondered if Aaron would have enough that we could nominate him. You know, in his past, he's done a lot of work for the Kerwood Fire Department and acted on behalf of the log fire chief. So I wondered if we could, in consultation with Aaron, submit his name as a voluntary fire chief.
Make that a motion then?
Yes.
Okay. And a seconder? Deputy Mayor Stockman. Any discussion at all? That motion there? Perfect. Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. And then the last one there, item number 12, it's the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario, and it's the 2019 Council Award. Okay. So we need a motion to resolve that Council receive and file correspondence items CC1 to CC10 and 12.
Move.
Moved by Councilor Sanders and second by Deputy Mayor Stockman. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. So we're going to jump into our first public meeting. So we need a motion to resolve that the public meeting to hear zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 07-2018 be opened at 7:07 p.m.
I'll move.
Councilor Sanders and Councilor McKinnon. All those in favor? Opposed and carried. So before we open up the, continue with the public meeting, I just want to state that the purpose of the following public hearing for the Adelaide Metcalfe Council is to give the members of council as well as the general public an opportunity to hear all interested persons with respect to the application before council this evening. The public is advised that comments expressed and written material presented are a matter of public record available for full disclosure. If a person or a public body files an appeal or decision made this evening to the local planning appeal tribunal without having made a written submission to council, the tribunal may dismiss the appeal. If you wish to be notified of the decision, please submit a written request to the township, and a sign-in sheet has been provided for your convenience in the table in front of us. We have, is it Paul?
It is, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. And good evening, Council.
Yep.
Here on behalf of Mr. Van Gorp, who was unable to attend and sends his regrets.
Perfect, thank you. Going to have Aaron, our planner, go through the report, and then I'll open up to questions to you, and then also the public, and then council itself.
The application before council tonight is a report offering favorable consideration for a zoning bylaw amendment application submitted by Jeff Van Gorp. This is for the property known municipally as 2173 Mulberry Drive. The purpose and effect of ZBA 07-2018 is to implement a condition of consent that was previously imposed by this Committee of Adjustment for consent B17-2017 on August 21st, 2017. The committee conditionally severed a 0.6 hectare or 1.5 acre parcel of land in order to facilitate the disposal of the surplus farm dwelling. Through this application, Mr. Van Gorp is proposing to amend the zoning of the severed parcel from general agriculture to surplus dwelling. This is to recognize the residential use of the lands and prohibit agricultural uses on these lands as well. In addition, the application is proposing to amend the zoning of the retained lands from general agriculture to agriculture only to prohibit additional residential uses on the remnant farm parcel. The application was circulated as per the Planning Act requirements. The Conservation Authority indicated no concerns with the zoning bylaw amendment and no other concerns were received. Based on the above, planning staff support the proposed zoning bylaw amendment and have drafted a bylaw for council's consideration this evening. I would recommend that council proceed with the first, second, and third reading of the implementing bylaw as the township is in receipt of a deposited reference plan.
Perfect, thank you, Aaron. Is there any additional comments or questions you have?
I don't believe that I need to say a lot in addition to that. Thank you. I agree with everything that was said out, and I believe it's pretty straightforward. So unless there's questions from other citizens, I don't have anything else to add.
Okay, perfect. Is there any questions or comments from the anyone in the gallery wishing to speak to this application? Okay, seeing none. Any questions or comments from council? No, making this pretty easy. Okay, motion to resolve that the public meeting to hear zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 07/2018 be closed at 7:10 p.m. Council Sanders and Council Hendricks, all those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. And then we have the recommendation there, which is for approval. If somebody wants to make that motion.
So moved.
Council McKinnon and Council Sanders, all those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Okay, thank you very much.
My only matter.
Yes.
I may be excused.
Yes. Take care. We're a few minutes early for our next for our committee of adjustments. So we're going to move into our first staff report, which is from our clerk, Jennifer.
Thank you, Mayor. So my first report is regarding the establishing a regulating bylaw for the Adelaide Metcalfe Fire Department. I sat down with Fire Chief Aaron Nordoff and we developed the attached bylaw for council to review, and any comments or questions can be directed to the Fire Chief as he will be in attendance at the August 13th meeting. So my recommendation to council is resolved that council accept this establishing a regulating bylaw for Adelaide Metcalfe Fire Department Kerwood report as presented by myself, and any questions, comments, or concerns pertaining to the bylaw be directed to the Fire Chief at the August 13th council meeting.
Okay. Our seconder for the recommendation, Council Hendricks, Council McKinnon. Any additional comments just right now off the top of your head? No? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried.
Continue. Oh. My second report is pertaining to providing for public notice. It's a bylaw to replace and amend bylaw 68 of 2002, a bylaw to prescribe the form and manner and times for the provision of notice to the public. It's attached there to the report for council to review, and if they have any questions or comments, they can let me know, and for discussion August 13th council meeting.
Mover and seconder for that. Deputy Stockman and Council McKinnon. All those in favor? Opposed and carried.
Okay, sure. My next report is regarding a data fix agreement for the 2018 municipal school board elections. On June 20th, I received an email from Vanessa Baumel. She's the senior e-voting consultant with IntelliVote Systems. In her email, she explained most of the municipalities that are using IntelliVote's service, they're aware that IntelliVote is now offering further integrations with DataFix to assist election officials with the 2018 municipal and school board elections. There's a few municipalities who do not currently subscribe to DataFix service. Adelaide Metcalfe is one of them, and this was a requirement for 2018 election. This was not outlined in the agreement with IntelliVote in March of 2017 that council approved, nor was staff made aware of this previously. The past elections, we've worked with MPAC to provide IntelliVote an eligible voter list free of charge. The difference with DataFix is that this is a live document that can be accessed throughout the year by myself or Kathy to alter the voter list instead of waiting for MPAC in July, August of the election year. This will prove to be more accurate voter listing for staff and candidates running in the election. The voter list management service agreement is attached for council to review. There's no financial implications for 2018 elections, as IntelliVote is offering this free of charge. However, for future elections, there will be a cost which is unknown at this time. My recommendation for council is that they approve the voter list management services agreement with Comprint Systems Incorporated, doing business as DataFix, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the voter list management services agreement.
Do you have any questions or comments? Do we have a mover for the question?
Well, just a comment. I know that 4 years ago the voter list was severely out of date, even after MPAC was through. So if this is better, it can't hurt.
Councillor Kennan?
And I just noticed that we can terminate the agreement within 5 days of written notice by the township, so if we're not committed to it for a long time. Yeah.
We have a mover and a seconder for the recommendation.
So
Councillor Kennan and Councillor Hendricks. Any further discussion at all? All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. And I think I'll finish off there.
Sure.
So we're going to go into our Committee of Adjustment. So we need a motion to resolve that Council convene as the Committee of Adjustment for the purpose of hearing consent application B07-2018 at 7:16 p.m. Councillor Sanders and Councillor Kennan. All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. We have Ken here, and you're acting as the agent for the application?
Yeah, that's my wife Alice.
Excellent. Any of the have a copy of the report?
Yep.
So I'll have Aaron. No, I can't do that yet. I have to say a little something here. So the purpose of the following public hearing for the Adelaide Metcalfe Committee of Adjustment is to give the members of the Committee of Adjustment as well as the general public an opportunity to hear all interested persons with respect to the application before the Committee of Adjustment this evening. The public is advised that comments expressed and written material presented are a matter of public record available for full disclosure. If a person or public body files an appeal of decision made this evening to the local planning appeal tribunal without having made written submission to the committee, the tribunal may dismiss the appeal. If you wish to be notified of the decision, please submit written request to the township, and a sign-in sheet has been provided for your convenience on the table. Now we can have Aaron go through the report.
Thank you, Worship. The application before the committee this evening is a report offering favorable consideration for consent B07-2018, submitted by John and Jean Milligan. The address is known municipally as 4121 Carafi Drive. This application is a resubmission of consent application B10-2017, which was conditionally approved by this Committee of Adjustment on July 17th of last year. As the conditions of consent were not satisfied within the required one-year timeline, the application was deemed to be refused. The applicant is requesting to sever a dwelling that has been deemed surplus to farming operations. The proposed lot to be severed is approximately 0.73 hectares or 1.8 acres, with a frontage of approximately 100.2 meters or 328.7 feet along Carafi Drive. The remnant farm parcel would be approximately 144 hectares or 355 acres. The lands proposed to be severed contain an existing single detached dwelling, which is privately serviced with an individual septic system and well. The lands also include an existing access onto Carafi Drive. The lands proposed to be retained, being the remnant farm parcel, are largely in agricultural production and do not appear to have individual access from Carafi Drive. Policy and regulatory framework generally permit severances of surplus farm dwellings in Adelaide Metcalfe. This proposal has been evaluated under the stipulated criteria outlined in the provincial policy statement, the county official plan, and the Adelaide Metcalfe official plan. Based on this criteria, I am satisfied that farm consolidation has been achieved and this building is surplus to the farm's operations. The dwelling appears to be habitable and was constructed prior to January 1st, 1999. I would further advise that the lands to be retained would require a zone change to agriculture only, which will prohibit the establishment of new residential uses on the remnant farm parcel, as well as a rezoning of the proposed lot to be severed to surplus dwelling to recognize the residential property and limit the agricultural ranges of uses permitted. Sorry. I also note that the frontage of the lands proposed to be severed extends into lands currently in agricultural production to accommodate a private water well located approximately 20.7 meters to the west of the existing fence line, The applicants have requested an additional 15.85 meters of frontage to the west of this well. I have reviewed the original recommendations from planner Christy Basel, and I am in agreement that a reduction in frontage from 100.2 meters to 63.62 meters is appropriate. I also recommend the establishment of an easement over the lands to be retained in favor of the lands to be severed to facilitate access to the existing private water well. This reduction of frontage would also leave all of the lands currently zoned environmental protection with the retained parcel. Based on the above, I am satisfied that the criteria for surplus farm dwelling severances have been achieved or can be met through conditions of a provisional approval granted by the committee this evening. In accordance with the Planning Act, the application was circulated. The township's chief building official provided conditions of approval. The Conservation Authority did not provide any comment. Based on this, I am recommending that consent application B07-2018 be provisionally granted, subject to the following conditions. Number one, that the certificate of consent under section 53 of the Planning Act shall be given within 1 year of the date of the notice of decision. Number two, that the applicant solicitor submits an undertaking in a form satisfactory to the Secretary Treasurer of the Committee of Adjustment to register an electronic transfer of title exactly consistent with the acknowledgement and direction executed by the applicants and the decision of this Committee of Adjustment. Number three, that the applicant revise the area of the lot to be severed from approximately 0.46 hectares, 1.14 acres, with a frontage of approximately 63.62 meters along Bradley Drive. That the applicant establish a permanent easement over the lands to be retained in favor of the lands to be severed. Number five, that the lands to be severed be rezoned to surplus dwelling, and the portions of the lands to be retained which are currently zoned general agriculture be rezoned to agriculture only. Number six, that an adequate and potable on-site water supply be demonstrated to exist. Number seven, that a qualified septic installer provide a report to confirm the location of the septic system and that it is working satisfactorily or is to be replaced to the satisfaction of the chief building official. Number eight, that the dwelling unit be deemed to be habitable by the township's chief building official. Number nine, that independent access to the lands to be severed and the lands to be retained be provided. Number 10, that a revised assessment schedule in accordance with the Drainage Act be commissioned and paid for by the owners to the satisfaction of the township. Number 11, that the owner enter into a service agreement with the township in order to advise future owners of the severed lot of consent of normal farm practices. Number 12, that any outstanding property taxes of the severed and retained lands be paid in full. Number 13, that a preliminary survey showing the location of the permanent easement, the lands to be severed, and the location of all buildings and structures be submitted to the satisfaction of the township. And number 14, that 2 paper copies and 1 digital copy of the reference plan be submitted to the satisfaction of the township. And further, that the recommended amendment to application of consent B07-2018, which proposes to establish a permanent easement over the lands to be retained in favor of the lands to be severed to facilitate access to a private water well, be granted.
Thank you, Aaron. Before I go to Ken, I just want to make sure the Committee of Adjustments just aware on our motion sheet here we have number 7 and number 8, the conditions. They are number 8 is not supposed to be in there. It's just a duplication with a little bit of wording change. Yeah. So number 8 will not be in there just because it's the same thing. So there's just the 14 conditions as laid out. Okay. Ken, do you have anything you'd like to add at all?
Yeah, I would ask that the Committee of Adjustment allow us to go back to the original plan of the 100.2 meter frontage as it was passed last time, just because of the conditions that I spoke of last time, my environmental farm plan, and I already have the survey completed for that that portion of the last application. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or I want to do that, but
okay.
That's the biggest thing, I guess, is to put it back to the way we started the whole process so we can continue with it.
Okay. Committee of Adjustment, do you have any comments to that? Okay. Councilor McKinnon?
I don't have a problem with removing 3 and 4 and taking it back to what we had originally approved. I'm saying remove 3 and 4.
Any other comments to that?
No, I don't know. Why did we change it to start with? My question is, why did we change the original? Did we change it at the last meeting?
We changed it when we applied the first time.
Yeah.
We changed it. Basically, I like I said before, I didn't just pick a number out of the air. I did an environmental farm plan.
Mm-hmm.
An environmental farm plan starts with your well. And the whole idea is protection of your well, protection of your soil, erosion, all that stuff comes into play, but it starts with your well. And the very first thing about your well is it should be 50 feet from the nearest hazard. And when my well's in the middle of the pasture field, it's 0 feet from the nearest hazard.
Right.
And that's an amount for guideline, right, through the environmental farm plan. So when I applied for the severance, I went 50 feet west of the well to take in that area. And then there's other arguments you could make, like down the road, if that well gets contaminated, well, now who's responsible? If it's on my property, it's my baby, right? If it's on the agricultural side of it, now you're going to be into a mess.
Right. So my next question is, so how big an area is it? What was the original? 1.5 or 1.2?
1.14 going to 1.8 roughly.
And we agreed on that
You agreed on that the last time.
exactly. Why are we changing this?
So-
Why was it changed? Is my question.
If I may,
You
Mr.
bet.
Mayor.
Yes.
When the application is submitted, the planner is required to go by the guidelines that are established in the official plan amendment number 10, and that requires the least amount of agricultural land to come out of production. So in order to support this application, the planner had to go back to what is in conjunction with our current official plan amendment, which requires it to be the least amount of agricultural land out of production. The Committee of Adjustment does have the authority to grant a larger severance than what is required, but the planner is required to support the amendments and the provincial policy statement as it's written.
So we actually need a motion from that we go back to the original.
Yes.
Is that what we were looking
You're
for?
agreeing to it.
Well, not
So-
necessarily the original, because you're granting it as applied for.
Or as applied
As
for?
applied
Okay,
for,
there's the
yes.
same difference.
Yes.
Well, I don't have
It's a little
problem.
clearer because we're not talking about, we can't consider that past application, it's now done. So it is a new application, so it is as originally requested.
Okay, so we need a move for that.
So, yeah, when we get to the point of wanting to approve, it would just be, as Councilor McKinnon said, removing condition number 3 and 4. And well, not really removing 3, but it would be approving it as, how would it be?
Readjusting 3 to the
original,
Correct, anyway.
not the original,
Right.
the applied,
As applied for.
as applied for, yes. Before we do that, is there anyone in the gallery wishing to speak to the application at all? Okay. Okay, is there any other questions or comments from the Committee of Adjustment regarding this? Yes.
If we, as council approved the original request last time, we can't very well go back and
No.
say, no, we don't
No,
approve that
exactly,
now.
that's what I'm trying to get at.
Because
I'm a little lost
the
here.
the reason that it's back is because some of the conditions were not
Were not
fulfilled
met.
within the correct time frame.
Then one year.
So if it was approved the first time, it gets approved the second time,
Yeah,
the same
okay,
way.
well, all right, that's the way it is, that's fine.
And the only reason it's coming back here with Erin's recommendation of having it reduced is because she's doing her job.
Yes.
Right.
Outlined in the
Yeah, I
policies that we
understand
gave
this
her.
now. No,
So,
I got it. But, you know, the reason I'm a little confused, and I am getting older, that originally we approved this.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now I got it.
Okay.
So now we
So we
go
need,
back.
yeah, if we, like the Committee of Adjustment, can have a mover and seconder for approving the recommendation with changing number, the third condition to, somebody hit something where it's
As
not
applied
applied.
for it.
As applied for, the 1.8.
I believe it was, 1.8 acres.
Hectares.
Hectares.
Acres.
Acres,
Acres,
yeah.
yes,
On the
acres.
survey, it's 1.79 actually to be exact. If you
Well,
want to
that's
get
close enough.
that.
Okay, and then number 4
Would be removed.
would not need to be there because
That's
the
right.
well would be on the property line. So we would have 13 conditions altogether.
Uh,
So moved.
Okay, so that's moved by Councillor McKinnon and seconded by Councillor Sanders. There's no other discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Okay. So, and we're all set. We know that the 1 year timeline and everything should be good. You're halfway there with the survey, so.
Yeah, I'll be talking to Cassie about the conditions that have been met already and
Yeah,
see where we go forward here with Aaron and Kathy.
excellent.
You know, we just had some family issues we've been working through
Yep,
and how it's up with everything.
perfect. Okay, thank you. Perfect. And we just need a motion to resolve that the Committee of Adjustment be closed at 7:30 p.m. and the committee can reconvene in regular session. Councillor Hendricks and Councillor McKinnon, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Just a comment. Aaron, you do really a good job presenting the report. You speak slowly and concisely, and just wanted to point that out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think we're all set unless we have another planning matter, which I don't think we do.
Just one question. How come the small map is not the same direction sometimes as the main map? Like on the Van Gorp application, it's sitting cockeyed?
Right, so it's a lot of behind the scene data management. So we actually have a lot of the lot and concessions and road names in a certain orientation. So the smaller location map comes in at a different, I try to make the main map face north, but the other one is skewed. We can try to
But
fix
in theory, it should also be the same. Because it either has to be, well, it always has to be orientated north, doesn't it?
Would it make more sense if so this is a technician, I can look at the behind the scenes data stuff.
Yeah.
Would you like an arrow which shows which direction is north, or would you like the whole inset to be rotated?
Well, what is the quote unquote proper way to do it?
Whatever makes the most sense to you is fine with us. We don't really have a set of guidelines that we follow with this. Whatever would make it.
Because as far as a geographer, I think it's always got to be north. So if the one is one way and the other is the other way, that doesn't make sense.
Okay. I will look into that and I will have that corrected for the next set of maps.
It's just that, you know, when I looked at these things.
That's why we have Nick.
I'm sure we'll all be looking to see if there's a north arrow. Excellent. Thank you, Aaron.
No problem.
Thanks.
Never thought of
My brother's a geographer, so.
it. Yeah.
You just said that before.
Isn't, like 80 highway isn't true north south, it's,
No.
So everything south of the railroad track.
yeah, it's kind of on a skew.
Okay, we're going to go back into our clerk's report.
Thank you, Mayor Smith. My last report is regarding Council's consideration for a change of start time for the August 13th Council meeting. There's one meeting scheduled in August, scheduled for 7 p.m. I would like Council to consider the startup time for this meeting to be amended from 7 p.m. to 6 p.m. due to the following items for discussion on August 13th. We have quite a few planning applications that have already been submitted. We have a quarter revision for a drain, and council discussion regarding 2 bylaws, the establishing a regulating bylaw for Adelaide Metcalfe with the fire chief, and the providing for public notice bylaw. That will be a discussion with the clerk. The above items are scheduled for August 13th council meeting. This does not include regular scheduled council business for August 13th, such as staff reports and council correspondence. There is no financial impact with respect to this report. And my recommendation to council is resolved that council approve the change of start time August 13th, 2018 council meeting report as presented by myself. And the second recommendation I have is resolved that council change the start time for the Monday, August 13th council meeting from 7 p.m. to 6 p.m. in order to conduct the scheduled agenda items for this meeting.
So we would move on secondary for the motion, which is to approve the report. Deputy Mayor Stockman and Councillor Hendricks. All those in favor? Opposed and carried. And the next one there, which is to actually change the start of the meeting time on August 13th to 6 p.m. instead of 7. If that's okay. Deputy Mayor Stockman and Councillor Sanders. Any discussion at all?
No.
Councillor McKinnon?
How many applications of planning do we have so far for that meeting? I'm just wondering if 1 hour is enough.
There's 4 zoning bylaw amendments, plus the
just
quarter
zoning.
revision
Okay.
for the,
So it's not looking at the, okay.
Any other questions?
No.
All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. And I'm sure Jennifer will make sure that it's in the email that gets sent out to remind us at 6 o'clock.
Yes, will do. I'll also make a note on the website as well.
Perfect. And that's it from Jennifer, and our next report is from our CO Treasurer, Kathy.
thank you, Mayor Smith. The first report is in regards to the account approval list for the period July 6, 2018 to July 19, 2018 in the amount of $478,949.91.
Is there any questions on the accounts? Deputy Stockman?
Primarily for Jeff on page 8, line X on the Mac 4 truck. We didn't do that on the oil pan, did we?
No, just where the stones will hit the box when they're loading it, yes.
And just a little further down, the hydraulic repair on the JD backhoe.
Yeah, that was the, Mr. Mayor, that was, the hydraulic pump went out, and I believe, in May, we talked about it verbally, and this is just the invoice that finally came through on that repair.
Okay, thanks. Didn't recall the discussion at all.
We lost the hydraulic pump on the John Deere backhoe.
Doesn't work very well without it.
No, it doesn't move very quick.
I think that's it. That's all I had.
Okay. If there's no other questions, move on a second to resolve that council approve the accounts listing for the period July 6th to July 19th, 2018 in the amount of $478,949.91 as presented. Councillor Hendricks and Councillor Sanders. All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried.
Report number 2 is just an update for council on the vacancy unit rebate program. The county council did review a recommendation provided by Cindy Howard, the general manager of finance, community services treasurer, recommending the elimination of the vacancy rebate program as of 2018, and it was approved. It's just to keep council up to date that the program will be phased out at the end of this year, provided it's approved by the ministry.
So the recommendation there, somebody wants to move that? Councillor McKinnon and Councillor Hendricks. All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried.
The next report is in regards to the municipal funding agreement for the Main Street Revitalization Initiative. In January of 2018, the province of Ontario announced that we would receive an allocation of $40,290.64. The purpose being to support revitalization, economic activity, and enterprises in the municipality. We have to spend those funds by March 31st, 2020. As one step in being able to receive our grant, we do need to enter into an agreement similar to other agreements such as the gas tax. AMO is going to be distributing the funds on behalf of the province through OMAPRA, and we do need to enter into the agreement for that. We also need to come up with where we are going to spend the funds and provide the ministry with a communication, or AMO with a communication report before we can spend any of the money. There is a requirement that when we receive the funds through this agreement, we have to invest it in an interest-bearing reserve account until the earliest of expenditure, or March 31st, 2020. And the recommendation is that we accept the report as presented, and you'll see the agreement is under bylaw for signature by the clerk and the mayor.
Okay. Mover and second for the recommendation. Councillor Hendricks and Councillor McKinnon. Any discussion at all? All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried.
It's not much time.
I
A
would
little
spend,
over a year.
let's spend it.
Well, it's a year, yeah, it's a year and a half, but it's still, not a lot of time.
2020, a year and a half.
Yeah.
2020, yeah.
It's just a matter of, can you get this, depending on what it is, can you get it done in those winter months?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should be able to get that done.
The next report is in regard to the Strathroy-Caradoc Adelaide Metcalfe servicing agreement. The Highway 81 servicing agreement with the municipality of Strathroy-Caradoc was originally approved in October of 2003 and ran for a period of 10 years. The servicing agreement was renewed for a 5-year term on October 1st, 2013, which means the current agreement is now up for renewal on October 1st, 2018. They went from a 10-year period to a 5-year period for the agreement. So in light of the fact that October 1st is fast approaching and we're in the middle of a municipal election, it's been suggested, staff is recommending that we request a 6-month extension to the current servicing agreement between the two municipalities, which will allow us time to thoroughly review and update the agreement, to provide an adequate time to review any capacity allocations and possibly negotiate for additional capacity if deemed desirable by council, and to ensure that all parties understand their obligations related to the provision of the services. The current agreement is quite lengthy, and it is a little bit hard to decipher who's responsible for what, so we just want to make sure everything is a little bit more clear on our end to understand what our obligations are. So we're requesting that council support requesting Strathroy-Caradoc for an extension of the Highway 81 servicing agreement for review purposes, and that we target a renewal date of April of 2019.
Councillor McKinnon?
Did you
I
have a
was
hand
just
up?
gonna move it because it makes good sense to me.
Okay, so we have a mover, seconder. Councillor McKinnon, you have a question?
I was just going to say I agree with the recommendation, and I'm hoping that we'll see insurance and all agreements and requests for proposals before us earlier than 6 months if we could. And I think with the new council that could be sitting here, it gives them an opportunity to familiarize themselves with some of these agreements. So.
Okay, any other discussion at all? This motion and recommendation was in front of Strathroy-Caradoc Council, is that right?
It will, we'll send them a letter for their consideration August the 13th. They
Okay.
meet tonight, the same as us, and they meet August the 13th, the same as us.
So if they don't agree, then what we do?
And then we will negotiate a contract quickly. I have
Because
spoken
this
to
could
their,
be quite a
I did
lengthy
discuss with their
procedure.
CAO, and he would like a little more time to become familiar with it. They're having a couple of staff changes within their office, and they would like some time to review it amongst themselves as well, to make sure that they're providing us with the services we're supposed to be getting, and that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing in
This could
regard
be
to
a
the
bit of a
services.
challenge. Okay, yep.
Okay, if there's no more discussion, all those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried.
Okay, the tree removal and stump removal, the tenders were issued on Friday, July the 6th, and we received no tenders back as of 4 p.m. on Friday, July the 20th. So we're not really sure what happened there, but they have all been circulated, and we are requesting council reissue the tender, and we will recirculate it for the August the 13th meeting, and hopefully we get some tenders by then.
I'll move that we re-tender.
Moved by Council Sanders, seconded by Council Hendricks. All those in favor? Opposed? Not carried. And just something else with that I could mention is at the county they do the tendering for stump removal, and that's also good for lower tiers as well. So we can talk to Chris Trinity to see, find out their list of people that they can send it to. So.
Because I believe last year we only had one tender, didn't we? Or did we have two?
It was 2.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
You want to just do the last one? Just
Yes. And the last one is the financial report, which includes the June payroll. That was left on your desk this evening. Council is welcome to take home the budget to actual comparison as of May 31st, 2018 for further review. I do ask that you leave your blue sheet here.
Any questions at all for the financial report and payroll? Okay, move on to secretary for that.
I'll move.
Sanders and Deputy Stockman. All those in favor? Opposed? That's good. That's everything?
That's good.
That brings us back to the drainage consideration for the Predators Drain 2018. We have Armin here and
George.
George?
George Free.
Yep. Perfect. And is Jim?
Jim is supposed to be here.
Should
He knows about it.
Should we wait or should we just assume?
He will know the first part. He's familiar with the drain report itself, so we can proceed again.
Okay.
Maybe a phone call.
Last time I wondered maybe it was Jim saying.
Okay. So from council, I need a motion to resolve that the engineer's report dated July 6, 2018 for the repair of the Predators Drain 2018 be considered. Deputy Stockman and Councilor Hendricks. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Okay. And before we go ahead and have the presentation from Armin for the review of the report, is there anyone in attendance for this drain? And just state your name and address for the minutes. Okay.
Linda Rombouts.
Okay. Who's writing this? Kathy's. And your address as well? Or you probably have it.
2941 Hackney.
Okay. Okay. Is there anyone else in attendance?
Are you, we don't.
Chuck,
Okay, thank you.
2983 now for the rest.
That's it.
Mr. Bean, I believe, is here too.
Yeah. And you had his address? Okay. Oh, you need it or you have it?
I don't know where he lives.
Okay, very good.
They got it. They got it.
They got it?
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
They know who you are.
All right.
So Armin, I'll have you go through the report then.
Mr. Mayor, council staff, actually I'd like to introduce George Fragan from our office, engineering training, who actually worked pretty closely with Mike on this, and so I will let him present it because he's more familiar actually than I am with it. So
Excellent.
that's okay.
Okay.
Good evening. The Carruthers Drain was a Section 78 report. It was received, which is a request for improvement or replacement of an existing drain. It was on the 2941 property, Napperton Drive, just east of First School Road. And it was an existing tile drain constructed through the property. It was constructed in 1984 and 1994. It was a request to relocate the drain along the perimeter of the property. The existing drain kind of swerved through the property and touched both sides, so it was then split into two adjoining drains along both property lines to pick up the flows and tile drainage from both sides. Also included was the Van Dam drain, which went through the property as well, which was connected at the property line to the new Carruthers drain. The existing Carruthers drain and Van Dam drain will be officially abandoned for municipal status throughout the property, the remaining pieces there. We initially proposed a standard storm design, which was requested to be upsized to a larger coefficient, which was brought to a 1 and 2 year storm event size. The overflow swale provision also was included along the perimeter for a 1 in 100 year event. This allows all surface flows to be collected. We've included various catch basins along at various locations along the drain, and erosion protection at the bends and also at the surface inlets. There will be a few deciduous trees that will be removed along the east side on the rear of the property, but the coniferous trees along the east property line are to remain. And there will be a small amount of fill and grading in the adjacent property to better accommodate the overflow swale, so that didn't need to be as deep. All costs for these are to the requesting property. There is no cost to any upstream landowners, and the same with maintenance provisions. At this time, I'd like to open up to any questions.
Is there any questions at all from the that's party to the drain? Questions, concerns?
We're just worried about why the trees need to be taken down. I understand that.
Yeah, no, actually, and I think that we missed that, is that we weren't actually going to take any of the trees down, because if we weren't going to take down the deciduous, or the evergreens, we weren't going to take the deciduous either.
We might have to make a slight revision then. We were calling for about 5, which would be installed very closely to where the roots are now, which may be difficult. It's about 5 deciduous trees. So
we're taking 15 feet off the east side to accommodate for that. So in our last meeting, that's what we kind of talked about.
Moving it over 15 feet, is that?
Well, no, we're just going to take a section of the greenhouse, so they come in like 15-foot widths between posts, so we're eliminating 15 feet from that side.
We did take 15 feet along the corner to accommodate slopes there, because there's a large hill that has to be brought down on the property.
But if you only take some, then you end up kind of with an audit, and we just take it off along the entire side.
Do you want to take that further then and leave those in place?
All the way across. So that's the 15 feet there?
Correct.
Okay, and that's another 15 feet there?
Yeah, just for a little odd
For
section.
the corner? Okay.
Yeah.
So that 15 feet will be continued all the way up, so we can keep the trees.
Okay, that's no problem. We can address that at time of construction.
Okay,
Yes, one more order of business here is that on the page 6, there was a statement in the maintenance referring to Schedule D. We did not include a Schedule D in this report, which was an oversight and a typo in the report, so we have a revised page 6 here to be, which removes the line that reads, also, the total amounts shown in Schedule D assessment for maintenance shall be deemed a fixed administrative cost levied to those assessed and shall not be prorated for construction purposes. That line was a typo and has now been excluded from the new page 6. So that will deliver you each of page 6.
That's revised. Okay, is there any other questions or concerns from any of the parties of the drain? Any other concerns or anything? Any questions or comments at all from council? Okay, with that revision then to the report and a motion to resolve that the engineer's report on the Carruthers Drain 2018 be adopted as revised. As Sanders and seconded by Deputy Stockman. All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. And then we need to have a motion to resolve that the quarter revision for the Crothers Drain 2018 be set for August 13th, 2018 at a time to be determined. Okay. Councillor McKinnon and Councillor Sanders. All those in favor? Opposed and carried. Okay. Okay, so we just had the motion there that the quarter revision will be set for August 13th, and then the time to be determined, and I'm sure Kathy or Jennifer will be giving those notices to know when to come back at our next meeting. And so that's the time when we'll be discussing the cost to the drain and that type of thing. So that's when those questions will be asked. Okay.
Can I
Yes.
just, with regard to the quarter revision, I realize it's part of the legal process, but there's only one party here paying the cost for this. And I don't think they have any intention of appealing that, so I don't know whether it'll need to be held, but it might be a case of where I don't know when construction is started, so I'm just bringing that up, whether you wait till after that or
Right.
what is council's preference, I guess.
Like, do we actually need another meeting if it's not being?
We're obligated through the Drainage Act to hold a quarter revision. Council can give permission for the construction to proceed based on the plan as revised since 1067978 will be paying the entire cost of the drain. We can also give them permission to go ahead and secure their own contractor based on the recommendation from Spreed Associates.
The only outstanding issue would be the geotechnical report, which we are still awaiting, which should be, I wouldn't proceed with construction until it has been obtained because it may reflect changes.
So there's a geotechnical report that couldn't get done in time for this report, but it does, because of the type of soil and what we're dealing with there, it could have some ramifications on the final build product. So we could give permission to start, but it may have to change partway through pending the results of the geotechnical report.
Changes would be minor. Changes, if so, would be minor because we've considered the soil in the design anyway. So,
if council so wishes, we can give specific permission for them to proceed with construction at this point.
I don't see no reason why we can't. If she's paying for the whole thing, I don't have a problem with it for proceeding.
Okay.
You need a move for that?
We do.
Absolutely.
Councillor Sanders and seconded by Deputy Stockman. You want us to have a Jennifer, do you want to once a motion figured out? I just want to make sure we have the proper words in the motion so then everything's all set.
Resolve that council grant the construction of the
I would put that council provide approval to the property owner to proceed with construction pending outcome of the geotechnical review and advice from Spreed Associates.
And then at the end, I put for the Crothers Drain.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, better name the drain.
We don't need people thinking they can go ahead doing things.
Yeah.
Okay, so the wording is looking all good for you all. So that was moved by Councillor Sanders and Deputy Stockman. Okay. All those in favor? Opposed and carried. And that still means that meeting will still go forward on the 13th. But obviously everything should be out set to good to go. So, okay. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This was the drainage superintendent. Southwest Middlesex. That's her boy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, nice boy. And
So
the daughter is an accountant in Windsor, I think.
Okay, so we're all done staff reports. That's right.
Well, we
Or do
do
we have
have
one
the drainage superintendent
I
report.
knew there was one more.
In his absence, I will present the report. And
I actually
Just-
kind of wanted to see that guy today.
he knew,
Well,
I
no,
knew
I
it was
have to
on
call.
his agenda because I did discuss this with him last week when he was here. So something must have happened.
Should we check the phone and see if there is a message, if that was him calling?
I don't think he'd be on his way now. He will
No.
be 7:45.
go ahead.
So, yeah.
All
So
right,
it's
fine.
just a basic outline of what's been going on in the drainage department since January. His last report was in December of last year. We're proceeding with quite a bit of closed drain repairs and open drain repairs. A lot of it is just getting some of the leveling and bank repairs completed from 2017. And he's also got some cleanups on the schedule for this year, being the Brigham Watt, Giffen, Jarrett, Tyler, and Lenting drains. We have had quite a bit of construction completed already this year, and we're waiting for a couple of more that have been tendered to get started.
Any questions at all?
Yeah, I got a question, but I got a question for him because this Brigham Water and his conflict of interest in this guy this morning. I thought, boy, if he doesn't move any faster than this, it'll take till Christmas to get to the other end. He was brushing, and I watched him for an hour and a half. He worked about 15 minutes. The rest of the time he's either on the phone, he's trying to fix his dozer or whatever it is, his brusher. And I didn't think you need to brush all the grass along there, but anyway, it's fine. He's must have had a few problems because he got a lot done today. I was getting a little upset.
I know he's going to be out there tomorrow morning. He had
Jim?
said that he would be out there Tuesday morning before he comes to the office, so
Yeah, it's
hopefully
no,
he will look at it.
it's okay. And they brought it on. They're doing all, and it's a huge job. And we were talking last year when you have big jobs like that. Does Graham do all our drainage work?
Not all of it, but a lot of it, yes.
A lot of it. So a drain like that, because we're talking a big job here, it's probably a 2-week job, that drain. You know where it is. It's a huge drain. I wonder sometimes should we tender some of these big jobs? Because I have people asking me in the community, how come we don't get to know about this, or how come we don't get to tender anything? I was always a big person to tender stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Jeff, he's got a different way of doing that. Fine, I have nothing against it, but a drain like this, there's, Mays and there's 3 or 4 other people that would maybe like to bid on some of them, but whether they do it by the hour or, I don't care. I was just going to ask Jim that, that's all. I'm not saying Graham's not don't do a good job or anything, but I just wondered why we, all of a sudden this year, we hardly tendered anything, did we? The trees, of course, we didn't get a tender. What else? Yeah,
This year
gravel,
we're up to
but-
number 19.
Yeah.
So we've done 19 tenders or requests for proposals so far this year, so.
That was going to be my question.
But with that, there
He
is.
does get quite quotes and prices, but they don't necessarily come back to council. But he can do that if he would like. It's just when contractor says they're able to
I
move
can see a
in.
small job fixing a hole in the drain, get the same guy, but when we're looking at big open ditches jobs, I think it would be worthwhile to say, let's see if 2 or 3 people are interested in it or not. I could be wrong, but I know I was a drainage superintendent for 10 years and I did use McKinney and Inja quite regular. I did because they did a good job and I got along with them. Maybe that's the case with Graham, I don't know. But I did use some other ones occasionally too. Or ask them or have them bid by the hour, whether it's 120 or 150. I mean, sometimes I think it keeps people a little more honest, that's all, and gives the other people an opportunity, at least a chance to bid on something.
But he does have quotes.
He
for-
does
yeah.
get quotes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he does have a
No, that's
ballpark
fine.
price
No,
that he has,
just asking.
and he asks for the quotes from
Okay, yeah,
various,
okay.
before he approves anything, for sure.
Right.
Any other questions on the drainage? Yeah, Deputy Stockman?
Wondering when the ward crane's gonna get done. Because it's 3 years post-flood.
They had, I just got an update about this last week. The contractor had wanted to move in, but one of the ratepayers was having an event at his house and requested that it not start till after the event. So they held off, and now the contractor has gone on to other work, so they'll be waiting till the contractor's ready to come back. That was at the request of one of the ratepayers on the drain.
Where's
That's the one Jerry came with Willie Boss.
Oh, that is, what's his name, is supposed to be doing
All
that.
Seasons.
All Seasons.
Yes.
Right.
So-
Because like I noticed that the one call has done all the marking. And see, if they don't start within 30 days,
Then
then
they
one call's got to redo it all.
Yes.
Because those things could move.
Yeah, it got marked, and one of the ratepayers requested, because he was having an event at his place, that it not proceed at that time. So we had to wait until afterwards, so. When he comes back is when he comes back. He was ready to come in the first part of June.
Yeah, well, it's
So-
nice and dry now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Really dry.
Okay, any other questions at all? Seeing none, a motion to resolve that council accepts the municipal drain activity update report as presented by the CAO treasurer. Councilor McKinnon and Councilor Hendricks. All those in favor? Opposed and carried. With that, that's everything for staff reports. Is there anything at all for other business? Councilor McKinnon?
I wondered if the Recreation Committee could meet and look at doing some fencing before a plan is sent out for a request for proposal. It'd be nice to have something done to that part before the fish fry and just spruce it up a bit, even if it's just the fencing at the front.
Yeah. No, we should start to do something.
Okay, we make direction on that right now to have a tender put out or quotes.
The only concern would be is if the recreation, if the report comes back and it's recommended that the actual entrance be moved somewhere else.
So, okay.
So if you wanted to put fence up, then you would be putting fence up and then having to tear it down and move it, if the recreation report comes back in that. What we can do is probably get the trees trimmed and cut up in there. That would be an immense help, is getting the trees trimmed along not only the front but along the sides as well. They probably are well overdue for some trimming and some tidying up. So.
And has the request gone out?
I'm working on it right now. I sent it to a couple of recreation people to have them review it. So I've got a little bit of feedback from them. So before we send it out without having any review.
Yeah, we should get on that.
Yeah, I'd agree that with what Kathy's saying is we get some of those trees trimmed up, and in my opinion, some of those ones along Kerwood Road should likely be removed as it is trimmed, because especially those ones, I know that the swing set may not stay there, but when people are swinging, and those are quite long swings.
No,
they
it
do
should
hit
be.
them.
So you can at least see through.
Yeah.
That would do.
Yeah.
And then maybe check on the pavilion, because somebody's saying an eave trough fell off, or well, we got to keep it up.
Yeah, that was on the actual storage building, and that's been removed and taken care of. So yeah.
Yeah, we got the money sitting there. We got to do something with this soon. We got to do something. So let's get at it.
Also with that, just thinking of the park and what with trees, council did make that motion to have a tree planted for Canada 150. We should get that tree planted.
The trouble is, what species are you going to plant? So many of them have like bugs in them and disease and that. But the only tree that's really good right now is the walnut tree. It doesn't seem to be diseased.
The sycamores are looking good. I see they put some sycamores in at Warwick.
Okay.
Walnut takes forever.
And it's dirty.
And it's dirty, and it's nothing grows underneath. And I think it's sycamore. I have to agree with Mary Ann. It's a much nicer
got a
tree.
maple looking leaf.
It does, and the bark, it comes off. There's one of my daughters. It's a beautiful tree. Sycamore it is.
Warwick Just
Sure.
put a bunch in.
We just need a tree and we need a plaque.
We should do that in the fall, not now.
Yes.
No, I know, but I'm just saying it
Well,
needs to.
Yes,
Yeah.
now's not a good time.
Yeah. It just needs to happen.
Yeah,
Unless you're gonna go and water it every 2 days.
no, summer do it, fall is the best.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sycamore.
Well, I've got a couple oaks, but I don't think they're that
It's
easy to
grows too slow
transplant.
too. Sycamore grows a lot fast.
They're too
It's gonna be a beautiful tree before I'm gone.
Okay, anything else for other business? Been a tree rampage there.
Well, I've done enough complaining tonight, I got nothing else.
Kentucky coffee,
Pardon?
Kentucky coffee tree, they're.
They grow here?
Oh boy.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, like,
yeah.
We're done with the tree, honey.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going on to anything else for other business. No? No. I'll just give you a quick update from the last county council meeting. So SCORE came and did a presentation of just what they're up to, talking about the food hub and different things that they're up to. So there's a good report on the last agenda there. As well, SWIFT came, which is the Southwest Integrated Fiber Network technology, and they were requesting that Middlesex County become a member of SWIFT, which was very confusing for County Council because there was the agreement signed that we were going to go with SWIFT and have the partner with them. But I guess being a partner of SWIFT does not mean that you're a member of SWIFT.
Oh.
And it was a very interesting presentation because it was pretty much saying that County Council, it's saying that Middlesex County is, if you're a partner, you have to be a member, and it wasn't really a question whether or not if we wanted to. It was more of a County Council and Middlesex County has to be a member. So I think there'll be some dialogue coming back and forth in the next few meetings to see exactly why that is, and it doesn't really make too much sense from the county perspective that we're putting those $1,000 there. Why do we also have to pay a membership fee when we're a partner?
How much was the membership fee?
It really wasn't that much, and that's what the interesting part is. It's only, she said, for Middlesex County, it'd only be $2,000 or $3,000, which makes me question why they need the membership fee in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
liability,
yeah, I'm not sure. So,
delay tactic.
I'm not
They're
sure.
never gonna get that done.
Yeah, but and the nice part is that with what the county agreement was, there's been no dollars sent. So until they actually start construction in Middlesex County, SWIFT is not getting a dollar from our taxpayers. Another interesting one, and the reason I was explaining this one is so there was a consent application in Lucan Medolph, and our planner at the county, Dirk Vanderwerf, had a report suggesting the county council should appeal the application. So it was 150 acres that was being divided into two parcels, meaning a 50 and 100, and in the PPS and also in the county official plan and also in Lucan Medolph's official plan, it says that the smallest farm parcel is only allowed to be 100. The reason that Lucan Medolph approved it was because it was an error in naming the ownership of those properties, and they merged in name and title, and that's why Lucan Medolph approved it to put it back to the original way. And at the end of the day, it was a tie vote at county council, and it's a tie, the appeals going through. So it was quite interesting, but a lot of people understood why it was being approved, even though it's going against the official plan. So it's one of those things of, what do you do?
Yeah. So who is the planner for Lucan? Is it the county?
Yes, so all the...
So they'll be appealing their...
Well, they're appealing, yeah.
Yeah. Against their municipal. This is where it's going to be interesting.
So, and it's, their planner also recommended a refusal, but the council approved. That's why. Yeah. So it's very similar to say for tonight, we approved something that the planner did not. And as Kathy said earlier in our meeting with the vacancy rebate report, and then we also just had an application for exemption for cutting of woodlands, and that's pretty much it for county council. So Is there any questions at all, or questions for me? Okay, so moving into our bylaws, we need a motion to resolve that the first and second reading be given to bylaw number 40, 2018, and that's the Crothers Drain 2018, and the bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk. So Councillor McKinnon and Councillor Hendricks, yes, okay. All those in favor? Opposed and carried. And then we have resolved that all three readings be given to bylaw number 36, 2018, the Employee Code of Conduct. Bylaw number 37, 2018, Voter List Management Service Agreement, and that's the data fix. Bylaw number 38, 2018, Municipal Funding Agreement, the AMO Main Street Revitalization Initiative. Bylaw number 39, 2018, Zoning Bylaw Amendment, Jeff Van Gorp. Bylaw number 41, 2018, Confirmed Council Proceedings, and the bylaws be signed by the mayor and clerk, and the corporate seal be attached.
So moved.
Councillor Kinnan and Councillor Sanders. I believe Deputy Mayor Stockman is not voting for the
Correct.
zoning bylaw.
5.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. And I should have asked before we got to the bylaw of the confirmed council proceedings, but is there any questions at all for Jeff Lowe? Maybe this will be good times for being on the video.
Yeah. Did you have a good holiday?
I did.
Did you go fishing?
I did not get fishing.
Oh.
I did some camping, but no fishing.
Okay.
It's good to be back.
And maybe this would be a good time for being in the minutes for the ditching along Sexton.
Put it in the minutes.
Yeah, so then you could just, say it again so it's on video and it's also in the minutes.
Oh, that was a good job that what's his name, Golder did?
There you go.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Because I said, because what's his name, Alan came got a couple of those straw, he always does, and said to Eldon, are you? No, he said, I haven't been there yet, but I'm figuring I'm going. So then I happen to go by there. I go around the block once every other day or every day just for a morning tour to see if there's any deer, the crops are growing. And I happened to come by and Coulter was, he's just standing on the road with the truck. And I says, yeah, we get along, oh good. I says, is Alvin? No, Alvin hasn't been here. I said, are you doing this on your own? He said, yeah, I'm getting along okay. And he had the old grader, I thought he had the new grader. And man, did he do a nice job. I can't get over it. Beautiful. It's a straight, and the catch bases are the stone. It's perfect.
Mr. Mayor, when we started the week before and got the catch basins and some of the drainage work done, I think we talked about the last council meeting.
Yeah, you did.
And then Coulter was able to start on some of the ditching without a big audience.
No, he did a nice job. Very nice.
He did. I agree with you. He did an excellent.
I think you got a good operator.
He did an excellent job.
Really good.
Yeah, because I actually just drove by there earlier today and I was quite impressed as well.
Oh.
I think that's the best ditching we've done in years.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the first time we've really actually used the grader. Before it was kind of the hi ho and kind of just ditching it out. Where I think it was perfect. Yeah.
And also I should point out too, we had both graders. Both graders were down there. Later in the week, the new John Deere, I think, he's sitting in Napier. So Richard was also down there.
So my next question, on the other side of what Johnny owns, the deep ditch, that's Brooks' responsibility?
Yes, the west side was Brooks, and the east side was our responsibility.
Okay. Yeah. So, but you're going down, you gotta go down, oh, come on.
Melwood.
Yeah, Melwood.
Yeah, Melwood.
I couldn't think of the name, I've lived on 15 years.
Melwood on the south side still needs to be ditched, but it's certainly, it's more of a cleanup and a repositioning of the
And don't you have to do a little bit on the north side too?
We're going to look at that. There is a little bit planned for the north side, but the extent of it, most of the extent will be on the south.
Yeah.
It'll be a big change on the south side.
Yeah.
It'll be,
Boy, what a difference in that corner with that new drain.
Yeah.
Huge. Anyway,
Okay.
job well done.
Perfect.
I agree.
Okay, so we have a motion now to resolve the meeting be adjourned at 8:20 p.m. Councillor Hendricks and Deputy Stockman, all those in favor? Opposed and carried.